It's morphin' time! Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my top 10 Blu-rays of 2020. I would have made it the top 20 Blu-rays of 2020, however, that would have just been a very long video, and I would have probably said the same thing about 6 different things. So this is going to be the top 10 of what I bought in 2020, but it does have a few rules. First of all, it had to release in 2020. Now, this did not necessarily exclude re-releases if they were packaged differently, but it does include everything released, but nothing that I bought this year that came out last year. So, for example, Discotheque's Amazing Cyborg 009 The Cyborg Soldier came out last year. I didn't get it till this year. Doesn't qualify. I ended up buying the other Robocop movies for the first time in my life, but those came out in 2017. So it kind of comes down to, well, I could throw in stuff that I did buy this year, but that seemed unfair and wouldn't give you a good overall of how this year went for Blu-ray. And there was a lot of great accomplishments here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through what's not on the list, narrow this down, then we'll talk about a couple honorable mentions before getting into the list proper. And yes, there are some cases where I cheated on this list. You can yell at me in the comments about it, but sometimes it's hard to pick some things. So without further ado, let's dive in, starting with what is not on the list. The following releases didn't make the list. That doesn't make them bad inherently, nor does it make them underwhelming. It's just they weren't top 10 material or honorable mention material. A lot of these, you may notice, are just recent films, which there usually isn't that much to talk about with them, which is why they're not top 10 material. So, let's take a look. Double Decker, Doug and Kirill, The Complete Series Essentials Edition. Garo Vanishing Line, The Complete Series Essentials Edition. Star Trek Picard, Season 1. Star Trek Short Treks. Zebra Man. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. Superman, Red Sun. Sonic the Hedgehog. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Knives Out. Jumanji, The Next Level. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Dragon Ball Super, Part 10. Digimon Adventure, Last Evolution Kizuna. Naruto Triple Feature Blu-ray Collection. Code Geass, Lelouch the Resurrection. For some reason, only released on a limited edition steelbook, not released on a standard release, and completely out of print now and going for over $200. Nice job, Funimation. You like to shoot yourself in the foot all the time. Bill and Ted Face the Music. My favorite movie of the year. It had no new bonus features on the Blu-ray from the digital copy I bought, which was legitimately underwhelming. Hopefully, in the future, this can see maybe a 4K and have some more behind-the-scenes content. But if you haven't seen Bill and Ted Face the Music, and you've seen the originals, or you haven't, I recommend the whole trilogy. Great, wonderful feelings when watching these movies. And finally, Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin Opening and Ending TV Collection and Promo Collection, which was a Blu-ray bonus disc included with the Mobile Suit Gundam 40th Anniversary Beyond album, which is a CD set. Our first honorable mention goes to Warner Brothers releasing the DC television shows on Blu-ray. Now, this is something where it's one of those, I can say the same thing about all of these. They all feature the show, they're all in great HD, they're HD produced shows, it's not that hard to put them on Blu-ray. They all have a myriad of bonus features except Stargirl. You don't have anything, just sad, and I think Swamp Thing too. And as you may notice, you have not only the DC TV shows on CW, but also HBO, Sci-Fi, and DC Universe, which is actually the last releases for DC Universe, except for Harley Quinn next year. But essentially, you have all the releases on nice standardized packaging of cardboard slipcover around Blu-ray case, and yeah, fairly nice. The also nice part is that Arrow, Flash, Legend, Supergirl, and Batwoman all contain a bonus disc, the same bonus disc, containing all 5 parts for Crisis on Infinite Earths, as well as the bonus features for that special. So while people that collect all the shows have that disc 5 times, people that only wanted one show could just pick up one season and they have the whole crossover. Or if you just wanted Crisis, you could pick up Arrow Season 8 since it's the cheapest, and you'd have Crisis there on a single disc. It also is a good way to binge watch. And Swamp Thing, Titans, and Stargirl are also presented perfectly in their original format. Especially Stargirl, it is in the DC Universe format, not the slight re-edit for the CW airing. So it's really nice to see. There were some other releases this year that I didn't have a chance to pick up. Black Lightning Season 2 and 3, as well as Pennyworth Season 1, which all released via Warner Archive. I'll get to those eventually. But overall, yeah, I'm really glad that Warner Brothers has this very extensive DC TV home video library, and I love the consistent look to everything. It's really nice. The other honorable mention is going to be to Made in Japan. Made in Japan is a subsidiary, I believe, of Section 23 Films. They released Patlabor, The Mobile Police, and Armored Trooper Votom's complete collection this year. These are both re-releases of previously released content. And in the case of Patlabor, they just recompiled it. And I do love the fact that this set, it's across a couple Blu-ray cases, but they did provide a timeline for those wanting to watch with the movie timeline, the television timeline, which is great for just being able to watch it without having to do a bunch of research, which I really do appreciate. And Votom's here had a lot of fixed issues from the single releases, so all the interlacing problems are gone. They've really cleaned this up. It looks really nice. It's got some mix of standard and high definition discs. I've been watching it. I absolutely love Votom's. This is incredible. The only unfortunate part is that these seem to have gone on sale and then sold out really quick and seemingly are out of print, which is a shame because these are fantastic releases that do deserve to be available to everyone. I know this happened with the Ideon release from last year. I didn't get a chance to get that. So hopefully more print runs of their mecha anime releases will come out because these are great. These are great releases. And yeah, some people have speculated that the Armored Trooper Votom's complete collection may have been phased out already, as it was just announced in Japan that the series is getting a full HD remaster. So we'll see what happens. I would totally buy Votom's again for full HD. I absolutely love the show. But yeah, so these are great releases. They just didn't crack the top 10, mostly because of that weird availability issue that's popped up recently. Kicking off our list at number 10 is Discotheque Media. Now, this is where I said I was cheating a little bit. The tricky part with doing Blu-rays is that you do run a lot of the same comments between different companies, so it is hard to pick them out. In the case of Discotheque, every release of theirs is fantastic. I have never had a single problem with this company. I've always loved their releases. I own a bunch of them. They get the obscure stuff that no one even wants to touch, and I love them for it. I love the fact they give them so much love and credit. So that being said, there are 2 releases this year I did pick up. I did get a lot more Discotheque this year, but it was from stuff from last year that had sold out. But these are the 2 new releases I did get in hand. So that first one's going to be Bobo 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 Bo, and the other is Super Beast Machine God Dankuga, which just came out just recently. If I'm going to spotlight one of these as being over the other, Bobo 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 Bo is a wacky-ass Japanese show. As you can tell by the cover, it is just weird. And this is a show that it ran 76 episodes, so it's fairly long. And this is on standard definition Blu-ray, which for those that don't know, standard definition Blu-ray allows this magic to happen. 76 episodes across 2 discs. The reason why is it's standard definition video. It's just on a Blu-ray disc, so you get, you can put more on it, because Blu-ray discs do have high capacity compared to DVD. And I do really appreciate this. It's nice and concise. So you can see some nice artwork on the interior, too. They always seem to have interior art. So in addition to the show in both English and Japanese, there's art galleries, there's recap episodes, there's creditless opening endings. They even have the Toonami airing opening with the English credits and all that. Really extensive work. But the biggest thing is that every instance of on-screen text when you're watching in Japanese is subtitled. I think they said in a recent stream that this had 5,000 subtracks on it, essentially titling not only the dialogue for the show, but also all the on-screen text. But they didn't translate all the on-screen text if you're watching it in English, because some of those relate to gags in the English dub. But yeah, all 76 episodes, both languages, the most extensive subtitle track, and it's amazing. Especially when the previous release of Bobo on DVD by another company opted to include a printable script for the subtitles to watch in the Japanese version, because they didn't want to go through all that work. But the people at Discotheque did this amazing job putting in so many subtitles, so much translation, just making this the absolute perfect release for the series. And apply a lot of that to Dankuga, because Dankuga, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but it's an 80s mecha anime. This is a standard Blu-ray, not a standard definition Blu-ray. I think they talked about this being one of their upscale projects, which also, I love that they have reversible covers, because that way you can have different art on the inside. This show was nicely presented across 4 discs, all 38 episodes, plus a few of the OVAs, not all of them. That's the unfortunate part of licensing, but just wonderfully presented in original Japanese with subtitles. A lot of what this company does don't have dubs, and they even produce their own dubs. And I really adore Discotheque, and that's why I'm kind of just spotlighting them for number 10 on this list. Not to say that their releases are worse than anybody else's, but it's the quality I come to expect, so it's not necessarily as surprising. But just, you know, if any show's ever released by Discotheque that you like, go for it. It'll be worth it. Number 9, Nozomi Entertainment's releases for the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise. Now, I didn't get any other Nozomi releases this year, but I did pick up a lot of their Gundam releases. Of course, my favorite franchise. I'm going to have everything for it. So this year had started off with the great, finally, Blu-ray release of After War Gundam X. The series they previously released on DVD, but it finally got an HD remaster in Japan, and they brought that to us here in wonderful Blu-ray. Very nice, very good quality. You know, nothing major there. Followed up with the Build Fighters Special Build Disc, which I've been waiting for this for a couple of years now, since Japan did it. This has Island Wars, Jim's Counterattack, and of course the Batlog episodes. And it's beautiful. It's lovely having this, because last time I saw these, it was on YouTube with caption subtitles, so having, you know, actual burned-in subtitles is really great. No dub, that's because there was never a dub produced, but really great compendium to the Build Fighters, and I love the fact the spine matches up with the positioning of the Star Burning Gundam and the name, so it lines up with the other Build Fighter sets perfectly. Continuing the Build series, we got Gundam Build Divers this year. So glad Funimation didn't get their hands on this show, because this is a wonderful release, full HD. It's got the prequel episode, it's got all the promotional videos and commercials, really great stuff. English dub is amazing on this. Wonderful release. The next thing they put out was they put out Gundam Narrative. I'd already previously bought the Japanese Blu-ray for this movie, but this was actually a special release. So they haven't done a standard release of this yet. It's just a special release, but still in stock. You can still get it on Right Stuff. And that is the movie, presented here with a lot of bonus features, actually. It's a single disc, but the nice part is, in addition to reversible cover, you get Zoltan recaps the Universal Century in 3 minutes, which is the funniest thing ever. A bunch of promotional videos, and including the Japanese premiere event and the LA premiere event, which is some of the stuff that was on the Japanese Blu-ray. And then you also get this special book, which is compiled and translated from the 2 booklets included with the Japanese limited edition release. So it's nice having this content again, but this time translated into English. So that was really cool. And of course, the big highlight of the year, Gundam Seed Collector's Ultra Edition. I did a whole video on that by itself, which I posted last week, so check that out if you haven't. But overall, another great year of Gundam releases. Maybe not as many as before, but we also got the crazy Seed setup there. And Narrative was kind of a shock to get something that wasn't an Ultra Edition, but just like a little bit of a special bonus edition. So I hope more of those are in the works, because I really liked having something a little special. Okay, I promise this is the last time I'm covering an entire company's releases in one spot, but this goes to Mill Creek and the Ultra series releases. Last year they released Ultra Q, Ultraman, Ultra 7, Ultraman Orb, and Ultraman Geed, and this year we got Ultraman Orb: The Origin Saga with Ultra Fight Orb, Return of Ultraman, Ultraman X with his movie, Ultraman Ace, The Birth of Ultraman Collection, Neo Ultra Q, the complete series, Ultraman Ginga, Ginga S movie, and Ultra Fight Victory, as well as Ultraman Rube and its movie. There was also some single releases of movies, steelbook releases of the Showa series. Oh boy, I don't think I've ever talked about these on the show, but the fact that we got this many releases in 2020, in addition to the 5 we got in 2019, in addition to all the ones coming up, Mill Creek has the entire Ultra series library, and I'm just super impressed. I'm probably going to do a video on these on their own, but I gotta say the standouts of this year probably was The Birth of Ultraman, since that was including some of the dub we didn't get with the original Ultraman Blu-ray, as well as the pre-premiere special, which never has been released over here. Also standouts, of course, getting Orb Origin Saga, which is really great to see. But I think that the standout was Ginga. The fact that they shoved all of the Ginga content into one set is just impressive. The fact there's Ultraman written on this cover 7 times. But really, there's not much to say that I don't think has already been said, but For reference, most of these sets are about 20, 30 bucks a piece, and you're getting a full series plus the movie. Yeah, just amazing stuff. And the standard releases for the Showa series have this cool connecting image, which is I didn't get the steel books. But boy, oh boy, Mill Creek has spoiled us. The only thing I could, only keeping it this low despite putting out this many releases for a franchise that has just, just dominated over here now, just recently. The only thing I could say is that the subtitle quality could be a little higher. Some of it was ripped from Crunchyroll, some of it's new. Not so much mistiming as much as grammar issues, but hopefully that's stuff that's improving, because this is just fantastic. I can't wait to get more shows. I know Taro's next. We're getting Zero movies. Hopefully we'll get Taiga and Zet. Hopefully we'll dive into the Heisei stuff soon. I'm here for it. I love the affordability. I love the availability. You can buy these at Walmart and Best Buy, which is crazy. Every excuse that Sentai or Kamen Rider has had releasing its stuff over in North America, out the window, because look what Ultraman did. Look what Ultraman did. Got to give a lot of credit to Tsuburaya for teaming with Mill Creek instead of just dumping the license on them. I'm impressed. And overall, that's why they're on this list. It's to mark an accomplishment in Blu-ray releases. Who knew Media Blasters was still alive? Number 7 is Media Blaster's release of Zoram II on Blu-ray. Now, this is a movie I absolutely love. I love both Zoram films. I particularly love the first one a little bit more, but the second one is such a marvel as well. These are both films directed by Kei Tamamiya in the 90s, starring the main character of Iria and her hunt of the alien Zoram. These movies are incredible, and the fact we got one on Blu-ray is amazing. I know Media Blasters is working to get the first one, but hasn't been able to get any license set yet, so hopefully that'll happen in the future, but I'm glad we at least got Zoram 2. There's also making of, galleries, production stuff, really cool things, just really nice release. And for about 15 bucks, picture quality is phenomenal. I don't think I've ever seen this movie look better. And hopefully they can get that license to Zoram one day so we can have both together. But, oh boy, I gotta say, complete surprise. Media Blasters has been kind of gone for a while. They weren't really doing anything high profile. And then they just came back with Zoram 2, and they're doing Zebraman, and they're doing Zebraman 2, and they got Hokkaido coming out. And I'm ready. I'm like, oh, they're bringing back all their classics, essentially, in Blu-ray now. And I love it. So I'm really looking forward to it, their future. I'm really happy with this release, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed. Media Blasters Blu-rays in the past have been a little wonky, but they really nailed it with this, and with Zebraman. I gotta give credit there. So I'm expecting Devilman to be as good, and Hokkaido, I can't wait for Hokkaido on Blu-ray. Thank you, Media Blasters, for still releasing Tokusatsu stuff, because, partnering with people that already released it gives us a chance to get it better, I think, than someone going in fresh. So, well done. Anyone that knows me knew this was going to be on the list. Warner Archives release A Legion of Superheroes, the complete series on Blu-ray. This series has only been featured on DVD prior. 13 episodes from the first season were released on DVD with a very minor featurette. Nothing major. Season 2 was never released on disc, and this is the first time the series has been released on home video in full HD. And it's gorgeous. This show is incredible. It was already an HD series. It was a digital produced series, I should say, so getting it to HD wasn't too difficult, it seems. And if we get the focus, wonderful. Love the packaging art. The fact that this release came out, complete surprise. It even got a panel at DC Fandom, which was pretty amazing. It's spread across 3 discs to not overcap and cause any compression, because Warner Archive knows what they're doing. It's pretty amazing. And in addition to that, it not only includes the bonus features from the DVD releases, but it includes a new commentary on the season finale. Because the series finale was really incredible, and I love the fact we got a commentary on both parts for it, because commentary tracks have become less common for TV shows. So the fact that this is a show that was released 13 years ago when it aired, and had previous release, didn't have that commentary track because there was no Season 2 release, but to then have it appear here is incredible. I'm super, super happy. Absolutely amazing. Warner Archive just killed it with this. It's one of my favorite shows, and I finally have it on Blu-ray, and it's such a good feeling. back-to-back Warner Brothers DC releases, but number 5 is Batman: Death in the Family. Now, this is something that the experience and the reaction to this was different depending on how you watched it. People that watched it digitally were not impressed. People that own the Blu-ray were really impressed. This is something that can only be experienced properly on Blu-ray. This is, in fact, an interactive movie. It says viewer choice, pick your own ending, but there is a lot of branching paths here. So what essentially is presented is the death of Jason Todd from the Batman comics, retold in the same style as Under the Red Hood, including some reused footage, which was really clever, bringing back that cast, and giving you options if Jason lives or dies, if Jason becomes the Red Hood, or he does something sinister, but every single decision has a consequence. And I'll never forget the experience of sitting down and watching this with my parents and us making the decision of, oh, let's let Jason live. And then seeing what happened when he did. The digital release of this did include, as bonus features, 3 alternate paths, but the overall experience of picking and choosing where you're going to go is only on Blu-ray. It's the only way it could have been done. And honestly, that is so cool. And that's why it's number 5 on this list. A Blu-ray only experience is something I didn't expect to get in 2020 when companies like Disney are saying that Blu-rays are irrelevant. And yet Warner Brothers put out something that only works on Blu-ray. And that's really impressive. So yeah, and then also in addition to that, you get the most amazing bonus features of Sergeant Rock, Adam Strange, the incredible Phantom Stranger short, as well as Death, and commentaries on all 5 of them, which is amazing. Because those shorts were included with other DC animated movies prior, but they didn't have the commentary tracks. So there's also that bonus in addition to the interactive movie. And I gotta say, if you've never seen DC Showcase Phantom Stranger, look it up. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite things ever. But yeah, I gotta say, Batman: Death in the Family interactive movie, that's something I didn't see coming. Number 4 on the list is Arrow Video's release of Paul Verhoeven's 1987 film, Robocop. Now, this is by far the greatest release of this film on disc, and the only thing that holds it back is it's not a 4K. And I don't know if that means the transfer couldn't be a 4K, if it was one that just capped out at 1080p, but hey, let's give credit where credit is due. This is a stellar release. I did get the Steelbook edition here. As you can see, Robocop stepping out of the vehicle that he can't actually sit in without removing his legs. And then, of course, on the back here. But what's amazing about this release is the amount of detail. What most releases would include for Robocop, I love the fact the boardroom scene is the backdrop. Most releases would include the director's cut and theatrical cut. That's, a pretty standard, amazing release. Though, in the past, they've been separated. And yeah, that would have been great, except for the fact that in addition to that, you get this wonderful booklet that's going through all of the wonderful things. It is a 4K master. It's just not on a 4K disc. But it's got a wonderful behind-the-scenes book. It's got hours and hours of bonus features. There is, like, documentaries. There is commentaries. There is all kinds of behind-the-scenes. And it even includes the made-for-TV edit of the movie and a comparison between how those edits were made. I don't understand how this release exists. This is an absolute dream of a release. It's got every piece of content you ever could have. It took me days to watch it all, and oh my god, this is a movie I love deeply. It's one of my favorites of all time, and this is absolutely the best release it's ever had. The only thing is that it's just, doesn't have HDR because it's not on 4K. I don't know if that would have done any different, but that's the only thing I can take away as a negative. It's the only reason it's number 4. Because, oh boy, the top 3 are tough competition. But I gotta say, this is still, if you're looking for Robocop on Blu-ray, this is the release to get. Whether it's this or the standard release, which I don't know if it has, I think the standard release only has the director's cut. And there's another limited edition set. But if you're looking for it, get out there, find it. Arrow Video stuff does not stick around that long, so it's still out there. I recommend getting it sooner than later. But overall, Arrow just killed it with Robocop. They're the amazing work here. So the top 3 was really hard. And number 3 is Back to the Future 35th Anniversary Limited Edition Trilogy. I gotta say, this was tough. Between this and the next 2 spots, this was a tough fight, but I ultimately decided Back to the Future was number 3 just because we've owned these movies a lot. I have a DVD release. I've got the 30th anniversary Blu-ray edition, which came in the flux capacitor box and came with the animated series. And this is the best it's ever going to get. This is the limited edition Steelbook, which Best Buy had. But this is the 3 films with some really weird cover art, but 4K Ultra HD. And I gotta say, I waited to find out how it was when the reviews came in, because 4Ks are a heck of a basket of, wow, you could either get a 4K that is absolutely incredible, or you could get a 4K that's absolute trash because nobody did any good work to it. These are on the good spectrum of 4K. These are the amazing spectrum of 4K. The depth of color, the HDR is incredible, the sound is amazing. These are movies that are, the first one's 35 years old, but it doesn't look a day over yesterday. That made no sense. The point is, these movies just look absolutely incredible. It's why shooting on film is still the preferred way to go. And this set does include normal Blu-rays of the new 4K transfers, which is awesome in case you don't have a 4K player yet. Or you're like me and don't have a 4K player in your bedroom. So, yeah, I love that it includes both. Most of the bonus features are on the Blu-ray as opposed to the 4K just because of space. But yeah, this is an absolutely incredible set. And I gotta say that it's hard to just keep praising it, but that's essentially what it is. These art books are really nice, by the way, or these steel books are really nice with all this artwork on them. But yeah, all 3 films are presented beautifully. They've got all their bonus features from the past. I don't think anything was missing from what I could tell. I haven't done like a complete comparison checklist yet. It doesn't have the animated series, of course, but I think it does have one of the episodes. Of course, the Back to the Future 3 set includes the bonus disc. So you got that on the Steelbook. So you get a glimpse of the Steelbook there. It's got the bonus disc. Bonus disc has new bonus features. There's old bonus features, new bonus features. It's got the ride. I love the video that they did for the ride because it's nice to have that preserved, especially since the ride's gone. And then the Steelbooks I'm just going to keep bragging about because there's that. That is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen Steelbooks do. And then the fact the box is slatted so they don't rub against each other. This was well thought out. I gotta give credit to Universal here. This is the 3rd best Blu-ray release of the year, in my opinion. And wow, I was skeptical when they announced it, because I was like, okay, you're gonna do it right? And they did it right, and here we are. So, props to Back to the Future and the team that worked on this. The movies have never looked better, and probably never will look better. This is the complete package. The Blues Brothers on 4K is the #2 Blu-ray of the year. It just edged out Back to the Future for one reason. This is an older movie, and this is a movie that's done in very low light and very dark color palettes. Yes, it's also got some bright and colorful sequences, but the beginning of the movie is incredibly dark in its lighting, and there's a lot of times that Jake and Elwood are around cities in shadows. They're driving at night with sunglasses on. And I gotta say, in previous releases on DVD or Blu-ray, a lot of that got really muddy. It got really washed out. You couldn't really appreciate the depth of the film because you didn't have HDR. So, watching the movie now, I was blown away. We're Back to the Future, where you go from Blu-ray to 4K. You get a noticeable increase, absolutely. But the difference between Blu-ray and 4K for Blues Brothers is even more notable because the depth of frame that you get from HDR and the vibrancy of the colors that you didn't have before make the movie more enjoyable. Because the thing is that with the previous releases, yeah, you get the comedy, the dry wit of the film. It wraps you into the world. It's an amazing film, but I gotta say that visually the movie has a lot of this great depth and this great color usage that you don't appreciate when you can't see it all. It's something you would have seen projected on a movie screen, but not on a disc where it was a flatter image. So I gotta give a lot of credit to Universal here because it made me see the movie in a different light. And that is something that should be celebrated. Whereas you look at Back to the Future, I'm like, that's still Back to the Future. Blues Brothers here, I felt like when I was watching this that it was watching a different movie. And in a good way. It was like a more fulfilling experience. So overall, this may seem like, not that big of a deal to some people, but I found that this was really impressive and is my number 2 pick for Blu-ray of 2020. But there's only one that can be number 1, and only one that edged out Blues Brothers and Back to the Future. And we'll have to look at that right now. The Blu-ray of the year on the Soundout12 list of top 10 Blu-rays of 2020 is Ghost in the Shell on 4K. I had to put this at number 1. This was amazing. Like, I can't even come up with the words, because Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorite films of all time, one of my favorite animes, just absolutely incredible film that has always gotten a complete crap transfer in North America. The DVD release from Band Entertainment was the best release. That was from 2002, and it was the best release until this one. It took 18 years to get this right. It went through Anchor Bay, it went through, I think, Mill Creek. It went through a few different hands, and they re-released the same Blu-ray transfer multiple times. It was just not even an upscale the DVD copy. Sometimes they tried to upscale it, and it made it look worse. But Lionsgate, surprisingly Lionsgate, because they're not usually a company I would expect to do this right, pumped out the most gorgeous release of Ghost in the Shell. This is how the movie should be seen. It's absolutely amazing. The actual grain of the film is preserved as it should be. The film itself, it has HDR, it has 4K, it's 4K. It's got bonus features. There's actual bonus features on here. I gotta say, like, this shocked me. This hit me like a truck with how it just came out of nowhere. And it's affordable, too. I think the Steelbook was only $20. That's amazing. Speaking of the Steelbook, it's got this really nice slipcover, which is just, it's really cool, and it's got kind of the cybernetic look on the inside. It's a wraparound art, too. Oh, the Steelbook is amazing. If you get the standard release, it's still a gorgeous packaging. But, yeah, the Steelbook was a little bit of a step up. And some of the bonus features are only on the Blu-ray disc, not the 4K disc because of space, but the way they do that cool etched cyberpunk design. I think it's kind of flatter over here, but it's really kind of raised on this end. But yeah, I can't put it into words. And the thing is the reason why I can't put it into words is because it's so stunning. The fact that this is a movie that I have owned many times, and I have watched every release like a hawk to see if we could get even an HD experience. And knowing how much of a mixed bag 4Ks can be depending on the studio that puts them out, I honestly wasn't expecting much. I didn't pre-order this. I was waiting for the reviews. And then the reviews came in, and I was just floored. I was like, how is it this good? I have to get this. And I got it. I popped it in, and I had to go get my old Anchor Bay Blu-ray, put it in, and just be like, all right, how bad was it? Oh my God, it's horrible. And I looked at this, like, it's night and day. It's completely just incredible. Like, the picture quality of this is exactly what this classic deserved. It's what it deserved for a long time. This 4K release should have been just slightly better than the last Blu-ray. But the fact that the last Blu-ray has been reprinted multiple times, and there's been other Blu-rays, everything's never looked good. It's never done this film justice, and it's finally done justice here. English dub, Japanese audio, bonus features, commentary. This is the full package, and we don't ever need this movie again. They've nailed it here. No one try again. No one's gonna top this. It would be impossible at this point. So yeah, I gotta just give up to Lionsgate. I did not expect them to have the Blu-ray of the year, but this was the absolute amazing quality and treatment that this film deserved. And I wish that Akira got the same treatment, but someone stupid at Funimation gave Akira's 4K SDR, and I don't know whose dumb decision that was, but when Lionsgate shows you up on making an anime 4K release, you know that you need to get yourself in line. And that's the last time I'm going to dig on Funimation. I am propping up Lionsgate. All these releases this year on this top 10 were amazing, but this took the cake. Nothing topped this. Even though this was a tough fight between this, Blues Brothers, and Back to the Future for being 4K masters of movies that I love, that this just topped it out because of the previous releases. And the fact that Lionsgate never owned Ghost in the Shell. This is their first crack at it, and they nailed it. on the first try. They also did have a lot of examples of the past how to do it wrong, so I'm still amazed. I'm going to just keep talking about it as just being amazing, but that is what it is. It is absolutely incredible. So that's it. That's the number one. That is the top 10 list. So that does it for my top 10 list for the Blu-rays of 2020. To recap, number 10, Discotheque Media. Number 9, Nozomi Gundam. Number 8, Ultra Series. Number 7, Zoram II. Number 6, Legion of Superheroes. Number 5, Batman Death in the Family. Number 4, Robocop. Number 3, Back to the Future 4K. Number 2, Blues Brothers 4K. Number 1, Ghost in the Shell 4K. This is the kind of stuff that I want to elevate because this is how things should be done. This is the year that we had so much streaming content. Streaming seems to be the way of the future. Even movie theaters cannot keep up with it. And I hope that as companies go to release stuff on Blu-ray or on 4K, that they're doing the best job they can. Because at this point in the game, if a company can release something like Back to the Future, Blues Brothers, or Ghost in the Shell, in that good a quality, we never need to see another release again. It covers it. I just want companies to not put out half-baked crap anymore. If you're going to do a Blu-ray, which I hope that they do it right. Just do it right the first time, and we don't have to think about it again. And yeah, Warner Archive with Manufacture on Demand, a great thing that I think that the other studios should adopt. Not everybody's going to want some of these releases, but people do want them. And if you don't have to make them until people order them, then that makes the overhead significantly less. I want to see more releases like the Mill Creek Ultra series, not just for Ultraman, but for other tokusatsu. Tokusatsu is a niche genre. If you're not breaking the bank by putting out a $70 DVD set for a show, and instead can give them a $30 Blu-ray, or a standard definition Blu-ray, then maybe that's the way to go. Keep that market healthy of the people that buy this stuff. And yes, standard definition Blu-ray should be adopted by a lot of companies. Really, we should be beyond the days where I'm buying a 15-disc He-Man DVD set when it could have been like 2 or 3 Blu-rays. There's not a necessity for DVD anymore, and I hope that's where we go forward in the future. 4K should still include Blu-ray copies, as you don't necessarily have a 4K player or a 4K TV in every house or every room in the house. And there is still an advantage of putting the bonus features on Blu-ray as opposed to 4K. But I think that, Blu-ray DVD combo packs, that needs to be gone. I think we're beyond that. I think Blu-ray has become enough of a staple, and we're seeing that. I don't think any of these in front of you are combo packs. Some bigger movies still are, but I think that as we go forward, 4K Blu-ray with Blu-ray and Blu-ray on its own, standard definition Blu-ray are the 3 formats that should exist. And 4K, this needs to be done right. I don't know how to say it nicer, but it just needs to be done right. If you have the original film print, you can do a nice 4K. Just don't half-ass it. That's just all I ask of companies is don't half-ass it. But yeah, so overall, fantastic year for media. We just got so much on disc. I'm just really happy that even if 2020 has been really crappy, we've gotten a lot of great Blu-rays out of it. And so I've had plenty to watch all year long. So that does this review. If you enjoyed it, please hit a like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment down below. Tell me what your favorite Blu-ray release of 2020 was, or if you hate Blu-rays, just go off on the comments. It helps the algorithm. And check out my Twitter account for more stuff I've been posting there lately. It's at Soundout12. Check out my graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643. And check out Hero Club at hero-club.com for interviews, reviews, and more. So until next time, this is Soundout saying, see you in 2021.